Oh, thank you.
And I'm really happy for your business, like skyrocketing. It's amazing.
It's getting there. It's getting there. A lot of work. Good morning, Iguana Lifestyles. Harold speaking. How may I assist you?
I'm good, and you?
Excellent. I'm actually just opened up the internet to see where you guys were located, and I just saw some interesting stuff. You guys are a magnet program and specialize in the marine science magnet school program. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do. Are you ready for the interview?
Yes, I am.
All right. So can you state your full name?
My name is Harold Rondan. Rondan spelled Rondan.
All right. Thank you. Can you describe your job for me?
I am a local trapper here in South Florida. The long story short, background was I was working for Hilton as a front office manager in the Miami Beach area, and when COVID hit, they were cutting jobs. They started off with everybody on salary. After 2-3 weeks of not getting a call or anything, I actually ended up watching a YouTube video of somebody actually catching iguanas, and I thought it was the most interesting thing in the world. I actually was like a little groupie and was bothering him for 2 months, and he actually took me under his wing and taught me everything he knew. Within a month, I opened up my own company. I took the last resources of money I had to get my licenses and permits and crossed my fingers, hoping I can still pay off everything I have, my bills, and it just picked up very good. It started off with all my friends helping me and then giving me social medias like the neighborhood app, and it just took off from there. We just started off with just iguanas, and it just opened up a whole bunch of other doors such as raccoons, coyotes, foxes, anything that's a nuisance animal or an invasive species we targeted.
Wow, that's an amazing story.
And then more stuff added to it. So now, here in South Florida, that's where the iguanas are at. And other states such as Texas, Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina, these are big hunting states. So they're outside looking in and like, we can't hunt these here. So now that I've gotten so many phone calls for people that want guides. So what I do is I actually take groups of like 4 or 5 people and we go hunting for them as like a guide. So they feel good that they're giving back to Florida and they get to hunt. So it's a win-win situation for both everybody.
So is this your full-time job now?
100%.
So is Iguana Lifestyles your company?
Yes, ma'am. Website's iguanalifestyles.com. Little stories on there, lots of pictures and stuff that we do and we offer.
And you mentioned that the people that work with you are your friends?
Most of the people I have 2 guys that work with me on behind the scenes. They're not with their hands on, but marketing. Like for instance, I have a guy named Matthew Woods. We've been friends since elementary school, middle school, high school, and he does he owns his own record company, so he makes my own audio for music that I need, so I don't have to pay for it. Like all his stuff is copywritten and licensed, so I can make an original beat. He actually made me a song for Iguana Lifestyles. It's actually on iTunes. It's just opened so many doors for me, and I'm like extremely thankful. And recently, the last 2 months, I've been aired on the Channel 4 news, Channel 7 news with iguanas, specifically the Mexican spiny tail, ending up in people's bathrooms, in the toilet.
Whoa.
I
heard about that.
Yeah, they have 5 different articles on it. So basically what's happening, they have these vent stacks or vents on your roofs, which if you don't have a septic tank, these vents, it provides the pressure to release, so your pressure doesn't build up in the toilet. It releases the heat and the smell, so it keeps the flow from going. So what happens is you have a couple iguanas up there. Out of curiosity, they might fall in. They might be fighting for territory. It might one fall in, or a bird of prey might come, and it just jumps in there. And there's no way for it to come out because their claws have nothing to latch onto. It's a smooth surface. It's a PCP pipe, so there's nothing. And once it gets to the toilet bowl, it can't get out because it's porcelain. It has nothing to grab onto. And
Yeah.
these people are waking up at 5 in the morning. Thank God they're conscious enough to check the toilet before they use it.
That's crazy. How did you? What exactly do you do? Can you like describe a day in the life
Actually,
of your job?
absolutely.
And your YouTube channel, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I checked that out. Very good video.
Thank you. I just started. I know nothing about editing. I've self-taught everything.
It's really good.
I'm learning. I have like little tips here and there, but no one has the time and patience to sit down and teach you. It's a lot of stuff. So I'm here watching YouTube videos, anything I can watch to learn. I enjoy doing it. But my typical day, it starts off. I wake up. The first thing I do is check my phone, because what I do is I tell all my clients, if we have an appointment, my appointment says at 8, 9, or 10. If I have animals that hit last night, such as raccoons or possum, those are my number one priority. So I will tell everybody, say, hey, the times change. I have to go pick up animals because I don't want them suffering all day in the sun. And I don't want people's neighbors, oh, what do you have? Neighbors don't want to wake up and see an animal trapped at their neighbor's house. So my first priority is to make sure those animals don't get suffered. If they need to be relocated, and they're allowed to be relocated, such as raccoons and possums, they'll be relocated. Unfortunately, invasive species such as the iguanas, they have to be put down. If the client allows me to put it down at their house, I do. If they don't want to see it, I bring it back to my business, and I do it there. We do it with an air rifle. So the laws with Florida with the iguanas is they're not protected, but there is an anti-cruelty law, meaning you can't poison them, you can't drown them, you can't make them suffer. It has to be a humane death, and that is the state law. And the most efficient way is the air rifle. It's a pellet, like an upgraded BB gun. It's one shot to the head, and it's very humane.
Of course. Why do you think they need to be removed?
So for instance, right now, every school that I go to in Broward County, Sheridan Tech, whatever school is in Hollywood area, you guys are protecting the burrowing owl, correct? They're protected in the state of Florida. Yeah. You actually go out to your field right now, you'll see 4 poles and a chain and a sign that says burrowing owls are protected. So to me, that is awesome. FWC, the state of Florida, has protected the burrowing owl because it's becoming endangered. So to me, that's awesome. We identified the problem. So what's the next step? A solution, right?
Yeah.
But there is no solution, because if you go by there, you guys have the Mexican spiny tail. By every burrowing hole, you'll see a Mexican spiny tail, because I've seen it. And I'll go there, and if it's not on their property, I will remove it because I'm allowed to, because it's not on private property. So what's happening is those Mexican spiny tails, they dig just like any iguana, 50 to 70 feet. They're cave-nivorous den egg layers. They like to make their eggs in a den, 50 to 70 eggs. So when they dig those holes, as today, any of the holes that are out today, all this rain is causing collapsion and erosion. So you lose land. So that's the thing that's costing us the most taxpayer. I have a community that is now 10 feet away from a lake, and they have no option but to call the city to fill 2 blocks of land, $100,000. I saw the estimate. They're like, they look at me like, I'd rather hire you and not have to worry. I'm like, I am so much cheaper than $100,000. I promise you. So that's the number one. They have the collapsion of the seawall. You can't get land back. It's so hard. Back to the burrowing owls. Now someone made a home for you, and all they're doing is forcing them out and taking over their home because they did the work. They now eat their baby youngs and the eggs. So now they can't reproduce. When a bird is stressed, a bird won't lay eggs. So now you have all these lizards around. They're stressed. They're not going to lay eggs. And if they do, they're going to get eaten. They're also attacking the duck eggs. So most people think those Muscovy ducks belong here. They're not. They're invasive. The Egyptian geese, they're beautiful, but they're invasive. The duck that does belong here in Florida is called the mottled duck, M-O-T-T-L-E-D. So now, with those mottled ducks, are fighting and competing with the Muscovies and Egyptians for food and land. So now they're dealing with that, but now they're also dealing with the iguanas eating their young and their eggs. So now their population is declining tremendously. And these are the ducks that actually belong here. And another thing that's happening, which a lot of people aren't aware, so one of the most famous ducks to hunt is the mallard. It's the beautiful green head duck. It's one of the most ducks people, you probably go to a restaurant, that's the duck you get to eat. So, so this duck, it migrates, but when it migrates here to South Florida, it doesn't want to leave. So now they're considered an invasive species too. And why? What they're doing is they're making hybrids. They're breeding with the model ducks, so we're not getting any more pure breed ducks. And they're also breeding with the Muscovies. Muscovies are supposed to be white, black, and you'll see now a green tint on them, and that's the mallard from the hybrid in them.
I did not know about the duck situation.
The iguana is still affecting all those areas. So you have the land that they're destroying. They're competing for food and land for other species that belong here. They're making other species endangered. And then the regular green iguana, they're right now they're eating a plant called the nectar bean plant, which is their #1 food source for the Miami blue butterfly. So now they're eating their food source, the butterflies can't reproduce, and the Mexican spiny tails will actually eat the Florida blue butterfly. So the species that we do have here, they're declining in numbers, and soon they're going to be an endangered species because they can't reproduce like they normally do. Their food sources are vanishing. And there's just a competition. It's a cutthroat world. It's like a jungle. Only the strong will survive. And these iguanas are adapting. Here's another good thing to add. So everyone now, their biggest thing is, all we need is one good cold front to come in. And we don't have to worry about the iguanas.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? These iguanas, like any other animals, they adapt. And they adapt fast. So now, they're not, wait till the next cold spell. You're not going to see that many drop. Just like the last one that passed, there wasn't that many. And everyone's like, oh, it didn't get cold enough. No, that's not what happened. So they're no longer staying in the trees when it gets cold. So the big boys like to stay out, which are the alphas. But now they're smart. Now they know it's cold. They're going into the dens with the females. And all the iguanas are bundling up together as a heat source. And they don't die. And they're not going to fall down and pass out anymore. They're adapting very, very fast.
And when you get a call about removing iguanas, what do you do with their bodies? Because I know you said you have to kill them. So yeah,
so you have to kill them. FWC recommends that you know your trash day pickups. Mine are Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and to double bag the iguana and make sure that you dump it out the day the dumpster comes. Don't leave it the day before or after because of the smell. So I store it in my truck, like usually, I get 3 days out the week. So once I catch it, I have a storage facility. I put it in until my day comes. And I know my exact times on what day they come. So my neighborhood is not smelling. They would not want that in any way.
So can you describe how you remove them?
Yes, we have 3 different methods. So when I get the phone call for a new client, they always want like a price range or something. So I give them somewhat of a price range, but I said I can't really stick to a number until I actually see what we're working with. You know, every house is different, every situation is different. But the 3 methods that we use, the first method I like to use is something called a catch pole. I took something, it's called a crappie pole, CAPPIE. It's a telescope pole for like fishing, but without a rod, and it extends out to 20 feet. I've made a little, is it a noose? Yeah, like a noose, and I tie it to a string, and I have 20 to 22 feet to get close to an iguana. The trick is, most people are like, how can you get that close? The problem is, if you walk towards an animal aggressively, directly to it, it's gonna walk away, it's gonna run. But if you're not looking at it and you're looking on something else but getting close to it, it doesn't know what to do. So as soon as I get in feet, I just put it right around its neck, and then I pull my string and I just pull them right in. It's actually safer than fishing. There's no hook involved. There's nothing. There's no way for you to hurt yourself. So that's the first method. Second method, we use traps, like a raccoon trap. And
Yeah.
the bait that we use for them is fruit. You always want to try to use the fruit that's in season, because that's what they're smelling already. So if it's mango season, you definitely want to use mangoes, because that's what they're smelling every day. That's what they want to eat. If it's not mango season, watermelon, cantaloupe. Just nothing with citrus. They do not like citrus in any way.
Oh,
And,
yeah. I think I've heard that.
yeah, and then the problem with this is now say I'm just going for the iguanas. I have fruit. Well, the iguanas will only eat and move during the day. The moment it gets dark, they're done. They're sleeping. They're not moving for the rest of the night. So if we're not going for raccoons, I have to go back to the place and close the traps, because if the traps open, a raccoon eats fruit, and I'll definitely catch raccoons and possums as well.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But, sorry, go ahead.
And your third, you mentioned there was a third method.
The third option would be the air rifle. So most people, once they see how good you are, then they dictate the shots that you take. But before I even start, I let all my clients know, listen, I know you might feel comfortable with me shooting in a shot, but if the shot's not right, or if I feel that something can go wrong, we're not going to take the shot. And they're like, you know what, I understand that. And I was like, I appreciate it, because in no way I want my insurance going up. So
Yeah.
I work with a company called Gammo USA that specializes in air rifles. And what most people, all the kids see us on YouTube and doing this stuff, they think it's a cowboy stuff. It's entertainment and knowledge at the same time. But they don't see like preparation of how much practice we shoot, how much we make sure everything is sighted correctly. The margin for error is 0. So you have to always make sure that you're training right, your equipment's correct, and you always, and so what most people want to do, they want to shoot something and they don't think about it. All they do is shoot. They don't think about what happens if they miss. What happens if you shoot and it passes through? That means it goes into the iguana, goes out and hits a window. See, people are not thinking about this. So my gun company called Gammo has a pellet called Red Fire. It's a pellet designed to reduce pass-throughs. So if I'm shooting at something in a tree and there's a window behind there, I don't want the pellet to go through the iguana and hit the window. So they designed this pellet, Red Fire, which has a ballistic tip in it. So once it penetrates the object, the ballistic tip retracts back into the pellet, causing it to expand to reduce pass-throughs. So it's awesome for me, so I don't have to worry, it's going to pass through and hit a window or something, or pass through and bounce off and hit a car. Once it hits, it lodges itself into the object.
Wow,
No.
I do like to say that you are very educated in this, the iguana problem in Florida, because they're a very big invasive species here.
Yeah.
So.
And now I have Channel 7 and the Miami Herald. Every time I have a situation, they want me to reach out to them because they like what I do. And they're like, you educate people very much and you're very passionate. It's like, if you ever have anything you want to bring to our attention, they gave me a direct number for them, which is awesome for me because it's every time they air something, it's free publicity. It's free advertising. I can't even pay for the advertisement that they're offering me.
Yeah, it's honestly amazing. And it's crazy that this company started in the pandemic and so much already has happened for you. It's awesome.
It's a blessing. I'm thankful every day. I thank all my clients every day, and they know it. And my clients love me because I tell them, they're like, I treat their house like it's my house. Like most trappers, to be honest with you, don't have customer service. That's why they deal with animals. So when they have to deal with clients, they don't really know how the customer service. And I've talked to people. It's like, oh, we had a company here. They never talk to us. They just walk through here. We watch them on the camera. They're not doing anything. And they're like, we like you. We like you. We want you to always want to come here. He's like, you're very efficient. I go, we had one guy here, charge us $450 for a week service and caught only one iguana. I was like, ouch.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, I do performance based. You know, like if I don't catch them, you don't have to pay. You know, why should you have to pay if we weren't productive?
Yeah.
So
Um, so when you capture the iguanas and they're already dead, so you throw them away in garbage bags?
you can throw them away in garbage bag, or so state another rule in Florida, which right now we're all trying to petition with FDA has not approved the iguana meat. So there's a lot of people that do eat it because that's what they were bred for in Central America. Most people don't know this. They were actually bred for a food source in Central America. They actually overhunted them now, and they're actually protected in Central America now. So now the rest of the world is dealing with the problems while they're protected in another country. So they just FDA approved the pythons in for FDA. So now you're going to start seeing snakes in the butcher shops. So here's another good thing for the questions, and we're battling this as well. So an invasive species doesn't belong here, doesn't make a balance with their ecosystem. So we have funding here in Florida for invasive species. There's 100 programs for the pythons. Okay, that's beautiful. But the pythons are in the swamp. Why are we not dealing with invasive species literally coming out of our toilet?
Exactly.
There's no program in effect. Right now, if you call someone and say, I have something in my house, oh, we're so sorry, call a trapper. But tell them you have a snake there, you have 100 people coming over, no problem.
Yeah, no, that's really crazy because, Florida has dealt with like over 50 years with iguanas, and they're terrible for the environment.
And exactly, and what's happening is, because I just came back from Puerto Rico, and I was reading, everywhere I go, I just want to read. I want to see what information from every state. In Puerto Rico, every time that there's nothing done about these iguanas, their numbers double each year. Double. They have 50 to 70 eggs. Their success rate to live is crazy. Like out of those 70 eggs, you're getting at least, I'm going to say 30 to 40 living.
Jesus.
So say we have 1 million this year. Next year we have 2 million. Next year we have 4 million, 8 million. This is why it's getting out of control now. You know, we've been speaking. We need to do something. There is no more eradicating. Now it's all about containment. So, for instance, this is my biggest issue. Say you're in a park and you live outside the park, and I serviced every house around the park and I got them all. You think they're not going to come back? Absolutely, because the parks are not doing nothing at these places. I had an incident at a park called Reynolds Park. This was before I got started, didn't know the laws, didn't know the rules. And I literally got yelled at, threatened to get kicked out the park for removing iguanas. I said, this is a state law. He's like, yeah, but they're protected here. I said, no, you're following an old statute, and I know the statute you're following. If an animal enters the park, that they're protected, 100% correct, sir, but that does not pertain to an invasive species, because if you had a python snake here, you would have it removed the same day. Oh, I don't want to talk no more. So, I left, I did my research, and pretty much these park officials can't do anything. They can't stop me, they can't arrest me, they can't detain me. What they're gonna do is call the police to come talk to me. So the way we go around that is, like when I have a complex, I have an HOA, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, this is about 100 buildings in one place, and there's about, each building has about 50 units. So when I start a new contract, even if they send a blast email, there's going to be a guy removing iguanas. Do you think every person checks their email? No, they're going to call the cops if they see somebody with a gun. So a way around that is I have to, whatever county or city I'm in, Pembroke Pines, Hollywood, I have to call myself in. It's not required, but it saves time on me. I'm not getting stopped by 10 cop cars with their guns drawn at me, so I can continue working. The cops are not wasting manpower of sending 10 units on something that's not illegal. So I call in. They'll be like, hello, dispatch. Hello, my name is Harold with Iguana Lifestyles. I'll be at such and such from this time to this time. I give them my phone number just in case there's a problem and they need to contact me. And I tell them what time I'll be there from. So if anyone calls, they'll let them know we are aware and he's out there from this time to this time. And it just saves everybody trouble and time. You know, when I first started, I didn't know until they told me, it'll be very simple if you just call. And it is. I call them. They thank me so much because they don't have to use resources on a bogus call.
Yeah. You did say that another way to end this invasive species is eating them.
If they're FDA approved. So like right now, you can't sell it, but you can definitely eat them. Like right now, if I want to go catch it, I can go eat it. Which Chase, I have eaten them. I make a lot of crazy stuff, and my favorite one is a dip that I make. Like there's no way you can tell me that's iguana. Like I tell people, like there's no way. Even though I saw you cook it and make it in front of me, it doesn't taste like iguana.
Yeah, no, I know it's very taboo, but very popular in Florida to eat iguana. But some people are still like iffy about it.
Because those are from people from Central America that grew up on it. So now I get the kids from their parents like, oh my God, you eat these? Like my parents tried to make me eat this growing up my whole life, but I didn't. So I learned how to cook with people that thought they knew how to cook with iguanas. So, okay, you guys taught me how to catch them, and this is your way of cooking. Now I want to go and I want to know how the Central Americans been doing it for the last 20 years. So I met somebody from Central America and I had her come over and she came and cooked it for me. And I actually recorded it. It's called Cooking Iguanas with Cece. And, she breaks it down, how they do it. Down here, the meat is only in the back two legs and the tail. The tail's the filet mignon. The tail has a flat layer of skin on top of it and it's in quadrants. And once you peel off the first layer, it's just a nice piece of fat. And that's the best part to me. The problem is you can overcook it, and then it becomes very chewy. And it has to be cooked correctly. If it's not cooked correctly, you will know immediately because it won't taste right. So that's why everyone likes the meat. But now, this is the good part, and a lot of the guys trick their wives and their wives. So they'll tell you, this is what they tell you about the eggs. Oh, the eggs are good for you. They're high in protein, which they are. If you're sick, you eat the eggs in a soup and you feel better the next day. Also true. But what they failed to tell you is the reason why they're so crazy about these eggs, the eggs are an aphrodisiac. When they're fully developed and about to drop, they boil them for like 5 minutes, or they'll cook it in a stew. And it's an actually aphrodisiac, and that's why they go for it so much.
Iguanas are known for having diseases, especially here in Florida, like salmonella.
Yes.
That are transferable to humans. So how do you prepare and cook the iguana meat properly?
So it's in their feces. So once you gut everything out, you take everything out. And there's a sac, a urine sac in there as well that you don't want to break, so you have to cut it out. If it breaks, you just gotta have to rinse it out and sit it in water and vinegar. That's my trick. Most people don't know that. I treat it like chicken. Water and vinegar for at least 30 minutes after you do everything and clean it will kill everything on it. There's another disease, I forgot, starts with a B, that's in their skin, actually. But usually once you start cooking it and boiling it in water and vinegar, it's all cleaned out. And it's the salmonella is only passes through their feces. So once they use the bathroom, if the feces gets on the meat, then yes, you contaminate it. But once you harvest it correctly and it stays in the intestine, it doesn't even touch the meat at all. And then, so the Central Americans, they like to cook the whole iguana. Like I was saying, we only like the back legs and the tail because that's where the meat is. So they believe, and I tell them this all the time, they believe that all the flavor is in the bones. I don't see that. I laugh at them and tell them the flavor to me is in the seasoning. So I don't understand. So I challenge them all the time to cook it too, because I've learned different ways and I fuse. So I'll take their way, plus I'm Puerto Rican. And then I actually, my friend owns you should know this. You ever heard of Eddie Hill's restaurant, Thai and Sushi, right there in Hollandale?
Yeah.
Well, my friend owns it. So I work there whenever they need an extra pair of hands or something, just on call if he ever needs me. It's a childhood friend since high school. and I actually steal. I don't steal. He gives me recipes like the red curry that they offer there, and I just change the meat with iguana. I'm just not allowed to show the recipes. I'm just not allowed to show the ingredients that they use, like their brand. That's the only
Yeah.
rule. But anything I want, I want red curry. Let me try this. Give me the recipe, and then I go to where he goes and gets the stuff too, and everything. I go to the Asian market and everything.
Yeah.
My
Oh,
red
that's
curry is
awesome.
one of my second best dish. Everyone loves it.
So, like you said, iguana meat is eaten in various countries, especially Central America, South America. But is it unusual to many in Florida? Why do you think that is?
Because it's a custom that they're not used to. When someone's not accustomed to an upbringing and it's not something they're not used to, it's weird. No way. Let's take, for instance, a lobster. When lobster first came out, it was considered a trash fish. Nobody looked at you like you were crazy eating lobster. Now it's a delicacy. It's just not knowing the knowledge. But now if people knew how lean, there's no fat on them. It's like deer. It's very lean. And consider what 90% of what they're eating, fruit and vegetables. They're omnivore. Well, they're omnivores, and opportunists. Like if there's something there and there's something easy, someone's throwing chicken bones, yeah, they'll eat it. But if not, they're eating fruits and plants all day. Very good.
Yeah. So, what do you tell people that are unfamiliar with eating iguana?
Oh, I opened their mind. They asked me what my personal opinion is, and I told them, I was like, I was just like you. I looked at people crazy. I would have never tried it until I was with some people that were cooking it in front of me. I seen how they were doing it. Once I smelled it, it was a whole new world. One of my ex-girlfriends the same way. I'll never do that. I started cooking it. She's like, you know what? The way that smells, I think I am going to try it. And I got her to try it too. I recorded it, and she loved it as well. I make iguana hamburgers, iguana spaghetti balls, iguana empanadas, rice like rice and chicken, but instead it's rice with iguana.
That's crazy.
And then my sausage. I make iguana sausage too, and that's what I make my dip with. I throw it through a grinder. I have my own seasoning, and then I have to put bacon in it because it's so lean. I need it to stick together.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty cool, actually. I've never tried it, but it does look very interesting to me.
You pick a plate you want. I'll be more than happy to come over and show anyone that's willing to try it. I would cater to you guys. Just let me record everyone's reaction. That's all I ask.
So, by any chance, can you explain in detail the day where you took the iguana out of the toilet? Because I know that was your very big story that kind of got you out there.
Yes, we'll do the last one that just happened 3 days ago. I get a call from a gentleman, Oliver Heyer. Right off the rip, I love the way I picked up the phone because he's from London, so they have a heavy British accent. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. So he was telling me what was happening. In his son's room, before they were putting him to bed, they went to go use the bathroom, and surprise, there's an iguana. So the wife immediately calls the husband and is like, you need to come home right now. Like right now. So he goes there and he doesn't know what to do. She's like, you need to do something. I don't care. So he was forced to grab tongs, the tongs that you use in your house. It wasn't happening. So he calls me and he tells me everything that's going on. And I'm like, it was like 9 o'clock at night. I was like, do you want me to come now? He's like, no, we can wait for first thing in the morning. I was like, okay, because I understand. If the wife's not, happy wife, happy life. If she can deal with it, I can definitely come now. He was like, no, I appreciate it. Just come in the morning. I might not be there, but she will. So when I went there, she walked me right in, showed me what happened, and it was submerged. And usually it's all the way out, or it's only the tail sticking out. This one, it was just his little hand. It looked like a little T-Rex, little hands and just the head. So I usually tell my clients that they can wait to put some type of stick in the toilet, because everyone's first instinct is to close the lid. We don't want it to get out. Once again, it's not going to get out because it can't climb out. Oh, but if I put a stick, it's going to climb out. It's not going to climb out. It's either going to sit on the toilet or sit on the stick. I go, it's extremely tired. It's hungry. It's been stuck here for how many days? So this case, it didn't go on the stick. It stayed submerged. So I have these snake tongs that I have, which is longer, and it's like a pistol grip. You just squeeze it and it latches on. I couldn't really get a grip on it. And she's like, no, you have to get it. So I was able just to get the head, and then once I got it, I just grabbed it with my hand, put it out, and she was like, she was very vocal. Did it get inside my house? And then I was explaining the vents to her and everything and what you need to do to prevent it. You have to cap them or put a screen around it. Because there's a lot of things. A lot of people are like, oh, I've seen frogs in my toilet. Like, exactly. Rats, frogs, anything from the outside can get in. Once it gets in, there's no way for it to get out. It has nothing to latch onto. It's like a water slide. It goes straight down. And then most people think flushing it's going to happen. There's not enough. When you flush it, there's not enough force to push the iguana. It sprawls out. So it's like a kid in a water slide when it goes through like a little cave and he wants to move on the side to wait for the next person to come and the lifeguard's waiting. Like, where's he at? It's just like that. He's not going to be able to pass through.
Yeah. Well, that's all. You're an amazing person to interview. I love this interview.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm really happy for your business, like, skyrocketing. It's amazing.
It's getting there. It's getting there. A lot of work.
Can you send us pictures?
Absolutely. Is this the number or you want to send me an email?
No, from this number would be great.
Perfect. I will send some pictures right over. The screens, the caps, iguanas, Mexicans. You got it.
All right. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, and have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, and have a great day. Tell everybody I said hi.
Yes, you too.
Bye. There you have it. We just did an interview with South Broward High School. Didn't know what to expect. Caught me off guard. Glad she loved the interview. They're going to do a report on their local paper. Hopefully I get it. And I think this was amazing. I'm going to go back and see what just happened. And the world's the limit. We just keep on going. Amazing.